Bro, let me be honest, man. This campus is getting pretty big, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know that you in your little cushy office and everything, man. But me, I gotta be in the goddamn hot sun mowing the lawn because I didn't, get my degree yet. So now, we here stuck, doing nothing. We're sitting out here sweating all goddamn time. You get to be in the office because you got your degrees and stuff.
Not only do I get to sit in the office, I get the free university gym membership. I
Man,
got a I got a plug with the football coach. I can work out at the football facility if I want to.
man, dude, man, I don't know if y'all hear this, man, but welcome tonight, man. This is your boy Connie Westside, the best side, coming back from the quad because I had to mow the quad, and I'm here with the professor. He's just coming from the library, and apparently he got perks with the football team. So, I got to grind at the school. He can do whatever he wants.
Listen, get your PhD, then you can do whatever you want to.
Man, I just want to let y'all know classes in session tonight, man. Thank y'all for joining us, man. If you didn't enroll yet, make sure you enroll online, man. By smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and make sure you put on the notifications so when we pull up, the university pull up. That way you can make it to class on time, man. So much is going on, man. As far as HBCUs, man, we got a team in Jackson State that was talking big time stuff. This is from like people online and people from Off Script. Shout out to Off Script, by the way. Scotty couldn't be here tonight, but next time we'll catch you. So apparently they had a lot going on as far as like, you know, who's gonna play North Dakota State, and they saying, yo, who's ready for North Dakota State? First off, let's be honest with you. North Dakota State's on a whole nother level as far as like recruiting, developing. See, here's the thing about them. They get whatever they can get and they develop them. And not only they develop them, they make them into pro athletes.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, isn't it? It's funny how the world works.
And I'll tell you something else about North Dakota State that people don't think about. When you think about that part of the country, it might not be the best recruiting grounds for Oklahoma or Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But for that FCS level, those places, number one, you can grow linemen like you grow corn and wheat out that way. And listen, if you can grow linemen, bro, if you can grow linemen, you can find a running back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Easy work, right? Man.
So Tennessee State gets the North Dakota State game.
They get the North Dakota State game, man. How you think they're gonna fare out? Is this part? I want to know. Is this part of the yard? Because I want to know.
This was not part of the yard, but let's make it part of the yard.
Okay, go ahead. Let me go ahead and single you out. Bam.
Well, we'll start there on the yard. Tennessee State, not Jackson State, gets the North Dakota State game. Jackson State might have had a shot against North Dakota State. Tennessee State was not very good last season. They're not going to be very good this season. I'm thinking, North Dakota State may hand Tennessee State. They may hand them a 50 burger.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, and it doesn't help that Tennessee State's offensive coordinator is now the head coach of Grambling after just one season. Mm-hmm. That don't help matters either.
Right. Man, I honestly think that a 50 burger is definitely in the future of Tennessee State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand how these guys prepare. These guys prepared a lot different than what a lot of classic HBCUs prepare. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of HBCU players, you'll get some of them dominant HBCU teams. Like to me, I don't know if y'all remember when Hampton was a dominant HBCU at when they were still in the MEAC. They were a dominant team. Not Hampton. Hampton, was a dominant place to go as far as football if you wanted to
Mm-hmm.
have black college experience, and also get possibly get drafted, because there's a lot of guys in the NFL that people don't know about that went to Hampton. So Hampton is going to produce those guys. So, but you're not getting that classic preparation. You're getting a different type of preparation when it comes down to when it comes down to any other HBCU team versus a North Dakota State who probably has not only that had a program, but they probably they have a legit backing of their community, a legit backing of the schools, and they're not focusing in on classics to fun schools or fun times or whatever, because in that part of the country people love football.
And you got to understand something too. When you talk about North Dakota State football, go all the way back to Greg Bowl, who's now the coach of Wyoming. Chris Kleiman took over for Greg Bowl, and Kleiman's now at Kansas State. They are the Alabama of the FCS. They are the powerhouse, and they've been an FCS powerhouse for close to 20 years. So you contrast that with Tennessee State. Tennessee State is in rebuilding mode.
Always, for some reason. I don't know what's up with
that. They kind of spiked, and then the last couple of years the recruiting had gone down. And I would argue that Tennessee is probably a pretty good state for like the FCS level, because when you look at Tennessee, you've got, of course, University of Tennessee.
Right.
You've got Memphis as on the FBS level. Then everything else is FCS.
Right.
Tennessee State, Tennessee Tech, Fisk. You go on FCS and lower. So I do think Tennessee produces probably decent level FCS player, especially when you talk about the Memphis, the greater Memphis area. But the recruiting hadn't been there. The AD said it. The university had not really made a concerted investment in athletics, specifically football, and hiring Eddie George, who was a donor to the program, was a show that now we're going to get serious and we're going to try to get good at football. But they're still rebuilding.
I want to know, and I need to pick your brain, Professor, because I know that you definitely have this one, in the clip. I want to know, why is it that the backing of I guess the university versus the backing of the fans are completely different when it comes down to HBCUs?
That's a really good question, and that was actually a question I was going to pose to Scotty, because I was looking at some numbers, and Jackson State led HBCUs in attendance. So their stadium holds about 45,000 fans. They averaged a shade under 32,000 last season. And Jackson State, of all of the HBCUs, that's the one school that has strong attendance yearly. Not only are they the top HBCU as it comes to attendance, but also I want to say they were second in FCS. So you're talking about teams like North Dakota State, who packs them in every week. Schools like Towson, Delaware, where these games are well attended. But that's a good question, because you go to a school like Grambling, which you would think, because of its brand popularity, would have strong attendance. They have about a 20,000 seat stadium. I want to say Grambling averaged 7,000 fans last season. So their stadium's not even at half capacity. Maybe one of the reasons is that some HBCUs are in very rural towns. Like, I know Grambling is in sort of rural Louisiana. Mississippi Valley State is in Itabena, so, sort of kind of rural, out of the way, not easy for alums to get to. Same thing with like Alcorn State in Mississippi. But then on the other hand, you have Alabama State. Alabama State's in Montgomery. There's no reason for Alabama State to not have better attendance than what they do.
Which baffles me, because if you're in Montgomery, you're in the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
You big city living, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's the capital of the state. But that is something that has to improve. I know Eddie George talked about that a lot his first year at Tennessee State, and I knew that was going to be a shot because listen, Eddie George went to Ohio State. He used to 100,000 fans every Saturday coming to games.
Right. And here's the thing. When you're used to that, man, and I think that's what Prime. See, this is why I say Prime is different versus, Eddie George. Because Prime, like, people want to come see me. Even though people wanted to come see Eddie George or whatever, people really wanted to come see him.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I want to go see Prime.
Yeah, but at the same time, even when Jackson State was bad, people went to games.
People did go to games, and that's fair.
Jackson State's averaged in that 28 to 30,000 fans every home game for probably the last 5 to 7 years. So Jackson State has always had a strong base of fans come to his games, and it's really one of the few that's had that strong base.
And before we continue, I wanted to give a quick birthday shout out. So today is my little brother's birthday, and a lot of y'all don't know how special my little brother is to me. My little brother is one of those guys that have been a stand-up guy. He has done everything in his power to make sure that his big brother and his big sister's all right. And I just want to say happy birthday, young man. 29 years old, 29 years of living. I love that. I had you as a brother. I love you that I still have you, brother. Also, man, I love you so much because August 23rd is the day I actually got saved. So, shout out to the Kingdom business, but shout out to my little brother.
All right. Well, happy birthday, young Hilton.
So yeah, man. So yeah, we got a lot of other stuff to cover, man. So I want to know something, and I want to put this in a perspective where you can dissect it scientifically.
Okay.
All right. I am a North Carolina Central Eagle, or say I'm a North Carolina Central, and I say, you know what? I think that it's time for us to move up too, and I want to be one of the moving up process. But here's what a lot of people is not thinking about: moving up cost. So, what's my sacrifice in moving up? And by me moving up, is there a benefit for me moving up? Go.
That is a good question. So you have to take. I believe, and I was going to talk about this tonight. The one HBCU that is on a path to becoming an FBS school, and that's North Carolina A&T. So go to the My Team My Voice blog, mtmvblog.com. I did write about North Carolina A&T's move to the Colonial Athletic Association, which I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, they move in 24. So I think they have one more season in the Big Sky. So there are several things that have to happen. And when you want to move up from FCS to FBS, or from D2 to FCS, there are several criteria that you have to meet. The number one is student body. So right now, North Carolina A&T is from student population is the largest HBCU in the country. But this is one of the things that they did to do it. I'm gonna give you a trivia question. And you're not gonna get this right. So Connie Westside, can you tell me the FBS school with the largest undergraduate population in the country?
The FBS school with the largest?
The largest.
FBS? Undergrad? Oh my God, that's a great question. I want to say undergrad. I want to say I'm going to go with Colorado State University.
Colorado State.
Yes.
No, that is incorrect. So
what?
No, the school with the largest undergrad population right now is the University of Central Florida. And this is how they
second guess.
That would and it's because of their online program.
Yeah.
Followed by, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Texas State is second for the same reason. So that's what North Carolina A&T's done. They've expanded their online course offerings to be able to offer degrees fully online. So number one, so now you get
New Hampshire done that. University of New Hampshire is doing that now.
Yes. Well, with A&T, so now you can offer they're offering both undergrad and graduate degrees online. So now
also, you know who else is Liberty? I'm sorry. I got to name the schools because Liberty is doing that.
Morehouse is offering they're offering online programs as well. So now that ups your student population. You need also a combination of both athletic and non-athletic facilities. North Carolina A&T just had their largest endowment year in school history.
Right.
They're opening up, I want to say, a multi-million-dollar engineering facility. So as far as academics, North Carolina A&T wants to be the premier research university in all of the HBCUs. They are trying to earn what is called, I believe it's called an R1 research rating. That's one of their main reasons they want to join the Colonial Athletic, because some of the better research universities belong to the Colonial Athletic Conference. Now, from an athletic perspective, they're in the Big Sky currently. Boise State, Appalachian State, two schools that we know are now FBS schools. They were launched from the Big Sky. James Madison, who's moving to the Sun Belt this year, is a former Colonial Athletic Conference school. So those two conferences that have traditionally kind of been facilitators to the FBS level. So you need to up the ante with your academics. You have to be able to invest in your athletic infrastructure, and you need the student population primarily for sustainability. And I would say in the next maybe 3 to 5 and most 7 years, the North Carolina A&T Aggies will be the first HBCU school to play major college football.
Now, and you know, and for a long time, we all anticipated Florida A&M doing that. We all anticipated. The reason being because they had the engineering school. So because they had the engineering school, they partnered with Florida State. Now Florida State's trying to take over the engineering school, so it just be Florida State Engineering School. You know what I'm saying? And they'll just say, look, y'all just have to be agriculture, which I don't think. I mean, you can research agriculture. It's botany and more life science than anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of research in life science, man. Come on.
Yeah. I don't know if I could see some of the Florida schools maybe trying to make that path difficult for Florida A&M, where I don't see North Carolina A&T having that issue. But that's what it takes. And I also is Florida A&M public or private? I don't know.
Florida A&M is a public school.
Okay.
It's a publicly
So
funded.
yeah, and that also helps. That also helps when you are a public university. So
Right.
that's kind of what it takes to get into the FBS room, and it takes time.
Mhm.
So
All right,
it'll be a few more years before you see A&T get there, but I think they can get there.
man. That's gonna leave me with this question. It's kind of a pivot. I'm gonna pivot to this one. I'll leave you with this question. This is a question for you. Which FBS team, HBCU FBS team, would sink or swim first year if they get thrown in the FBS range? So I'm gonna put 5 schools up. These are the 5 schools.
Okay.
So we already got North Carolina A&T.
Mm-hmm.
I got North Carolina Central, which is 2 of the schools. Actually, 3 of the schools is behind you. 2 of the schools behind you. I say North Carolina Central, South Carolina State, Jackson State. Sink, swim. Who's sinking? Who's swimming? And who's surviving?
So I mean, it's hard not to say that Jackson State wouldn't swim. It'd be a transition, but they've got the best recruiter in HBCU football with Coach Prime. But then South Carolina State's intriguing because I think they've got one of the better coaches.
They have one of the greater coaches.
They definitely have the best coach in the MEAC.
Right.
Can I toss in one? Only because of location. Norfolk State. I'm intrigued by Norfolk State.
Yes, me too. I forgot about them. Go ahead.
And here's why. Because number one, I'm a fan of Dawson Odoms. I think he can coach. He's a culture guy.
Shout out to Dawson Odom because I forgot his name when I first met him. So I did an interview with him and I forgot his name. I just had to call him Coach though one time. So Coach Odom, I am so sorry from the bottom of my heart.
And
go ahead, brother.
I think that Virginia Tidewater area is just so full of players. And once again, so similar to what I said about Tennessee State, Norfolk State has made a concerted effort to invest in its football program, and that's one of the reasons Odoms left Norfolk. He left Southern to go to Norfolk State because it's like, why would you leave Southern to go to Norfolk State?
I mean, so when you're leaving Southern, people forget that Southern does not want to grow. Norfolk State wants to grow.
And that's the thing. So
they want to move. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the MEAC wants to move. That's how I feel. Because you see these teams, they're like, yo, I'm tired of playing classics. I need to play money games. And if I catch all my money games and win some of my money games, I'm going to be straight. Promise you, I'm going to be straight.
Because that's why you move. Yeah, there's no reason. There's no logical reason why Southern shouldn't play LSU every year. I mean, they should. That's a $1 million game. That's going to be at least 50 to 60% of your athletic budget. But and that's what Odom said. Odom said there were things that he wanted. Southern was not willing to give it. There were no specifics. The scuttlebutt was better facilities and more a larger assistant pool. Which you ask any good coach, they want money to pay for good assistants.
Right.
And they probably want money to pay for good assistants as much, if not more, than facilities. Norfolk State was willing to give that, and that's why he is now a Spartan. But I think
they just renovated their locker room.
Yeah, I think they are a sleeping giant. I really do. So I went before Kirby Smart took over Georgia. I said the same thing about Georgia. I feel the same way about Norfolk State. There are players from you talking about Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton. That whole coast is full of players, and you got a coach
and they're no slouch either.
and you got a coach who's gonna go get them.
Mhm.
Give Coach Odoms 2 to 3 years, and they're gonna be
Right.
giving South Carolina State a run for their money. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I mean, I like already. I was already picking them like last year. I was like, oh man, these. Because the thing is, they look good now. They
Mm-hmm.
play. They play. They play very. They're very tight in their formation. Not only that, they're very strategic on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing that happened. They kept giving up doggone. They gave up points. They gave up yards. They were giving up a lot. But the thing is, they weren't using the speed and the talent that they had on that
Mm-hmm.
defensive backfield well. So they needed to go out there and get a defensive coordinator for that team. But Coach Odom had those guys really focused, man. Really, really
Yeah,
focused.
and well, I mean, well,
Yeah,
well, he
you know,
South Carolina State did win the MEAC last year,
right, right.
and and,
But buy,
and,
buy, buy a ball, buy a ball game, bro. Like, let's be honest.
and I'll say that I do like if we could just kind of segue to these previews. Um, I do like South Carolina State in the MEAC for just one simple reason.
Mm,
That is a very veteran team,
right.
specifically where it counts. Um, the Spartans, now I like Norfolk State, but they're replacing they're not just replacing their quarterback. They're replacing
Mm,
probably one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks that ever played there.
right.
So I think that's going to be too much to overcome. I like South Carolina State in the MEAC, probably followed by North Carolina Central. But I will say this: don't be shocked if you see Delaware State, another very veteran team,
Yeah.
contend.
I look when I look at Delaware State. Delaware State to me, they they play real good North ball. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Let's check out Avis real quick. And all right, so to be fair, to be fair, they play tough ball. I mean, I think when it comes down to HBCU teams playing each other, they play each other real tough. I
Mhm.
believe so.
So now I will somewhat agree with Avis from this one perspective. I
Mm-hmm.
want to say 5 of South Carolina State's wins last year were one possession wins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is not much variance
Right.
in the MEAC. I would say
Mm-hmm.
they're very tight, but you got to give it to them. They had a great game plan against Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl last year,
They did.
um,
They sure did.
and figured out a way to beat them. So, but yeah, and I think it's going to be tight again. And I would say South Carolina State, North Carolina Central, Delaware State. Give Coach and Avis. Coach Odoms is still building that program in Norfolk. He just got there
Mm-hmm.
last year, so you're gonna have to give him a little time. And defense, as we've seen, and I think you kind of got 2 reasons. Number one, the rules,
Mm-hmm.
especially more so in college than even in the pros, the rules tilt toward offense.
Right.
So you have an offensive game, and your defense is already bad. So it's going to take you cycles to recruit the guys you need,
Mm-hmm.
and then to kind of train them, coach them up on how to, defend a lot of these wide open spread offenses.
Right. I'm about to pull up South Carolina's um schedule now. So this is their schedule right now, man.
They
What it
got their
looks like.
paycheck game. They got two paycheck games. They got two.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but this is what they're playing. They're not playing around, dog. They want to.
But scroll down for one moment. This is what people don't understand. And Jimbo Fisher talked about this. People talk about the cupcake games, quote unquote, but they do this at every level. So if you go up just a smidge, they're playing Virginia University of Lynchburg. That is Virginia University of Lynchburg's paycheck game. So when we would play, when I was at Wabash, we would play Butler every year. And Butler, if I'm not mistaken, I think Butler just moved up. But when we played Butler, Butler was NAIA moving up to FCS, right? That was our paycheck game. So you do it at every level because smaller schools need those games to help with their athletic budget.
Right. I mean, this is a team, but man,
I like that. I like that mascot though.
The dragon.
Yes, I
like. It looks like you know what it looked like to me? It looked like one of those pretend schools in the movie. Like, yeah, I'm going to Virginia Lynchburg, man, and I'm going to the pros. I'm like, from Virginia Lynchburg, bro?
University of Lynchburg. Yeah. So,
man,
all right, listen. Let's quit. Let's quit playing around. Let's go to the SWAC.
Oh man.
Because of course everybody want to know about the SWAC. What's going to happen in the SWAC? Listen, once again, go to the blog site, mtmvblog.com. Read my 5 bold predictions piece. Number one, we're trying to get that thing to 1,000 views, and we're getting close. Right. But also, one of my bold predictions was that Jackson State goes undefeated this year. Which is why I said before we went on, it's kind of disappointing that Jackson State won't be in the FCS playoffs because
they need to be, man. They need to be. Like they really need to be. I don't know.
Well, so they the SWAC and the MEAC have this contractual agreement with the Celebration Bowl that the conference winners go to the Celebration Bowl, because I guess there was a time the conference winners were going to the playoffs and other teams were turning down invites. Well, then don't listen, just put it in. They should just do what you do at the Power 5 level. When Ohio State goes to the college football playoff this year, more than likely Michigan will go to the Rose Bowl. So if South Carolina State wins the MEAC, if Jackson State wins the SWAC, they should have an opportunity to go to the playoff. So let's say North Carolina Central finishes second and Florida A&M finishes second. Send them to the Celebration Bowl. That's all you have to. It's really that simple. So
you know what's so funny? I got a dark horse in the SWAC, and that's my dark horse right there. Bethune-Cookman. I just like how it's how they're preparing right now. You know what I mean? It's how they're preparing for me. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have good preparation going into last year, which, you know, come on, you know, you can't plan for you know what happened. You know what I mean? But they tried to do things and jump into this conference, you know, barefoot and, you know, not prepared, which they wound up getting behind. Saying it to them, you know, at the end of the season, some of the guys just didn't want to play. And then you look at the talent that Bethune-Cookman continues to bring on, because you gotta understand, Bethune-Cookman was the original HBCU champs. They were the first Jackson State before Jackson State was Jackson State. You know what I mean? They got a couple of transfers over, and then all of a sudden, you know, these guys like, yeah, we're gonna win, and they started winning. You know what I'm saying? They had good recruiting going on and all that jive. I mean, they were good. So I feel like this is what's going to happen. Bethune-Cookman is going to be your dark horse team this year.
What do you am I did I make an excuse for South Carolina State's cupcake game? I think I made an excuse for everybody's cupcake game because them lower teams need the money.
I mean, everybody, man.
Listen,
but shout out to Avis, man, because Avis is active today, man.
I was gonna say God bless you, Avis, but listen, man, look, South Carolina State got UCF and South Carolina, them 2 paycheck games. They trying to build some facilities. Go ahead and make that money.
Go ahead
and make that money,
man.
So I know Coach Prime has been vehemently against the paycheck game, which is ironic because he went to Florida State. Bobby Bowden always played. Number one, he put his alma mater on the schedule every day. They played Sanford almost every season.
Oh yeah, and beat the dog crap out of them.
I don't have Bethune-Cookman. I don't think there's going to be a dark horse.
Really?
So let me just kind of run down some of my notes, Brother Conrad, if you don't mind. Oh,
go ahead, brother.
In addition, go to the blog site. I just published it this afternoon. I did part 1 of my SWAC preview. So part 1, we talked about some returning all SWAC players. We listed the preseason all SWAC, some guys to watch, some key games. One of the key games is the Orange Blossom Classic. That may be the only game that Jackson State is not a heavy favorite. If Jackson State beats Florida A&M in the season opener, I don't know another team on Jackson State's schedule legitimately that can beat them. But this is why I like Jackson State more than anything. I like Jackson State because they got whipped up front in the Celebration Bowl. And Coach Prime went in the portal and got 2 FBS offensive linemen, and he addressed the offensive line because that's what the issue was. And even during the season, Shedeur Sanders and his athleticism really made up for a lot of those issues up front. So I like Jackson State. I like Jackson State to run the table, man. If they can beat Florida A&M in the season opener, I really don't think there's another team in their division that's going to beat them. If you think about it like this, so Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Mississippi Valley State are all breaking in new quarterbacks. Eddie Robinson Jr. is taking over at Alabama State as their new coach. Everyone else is pretty much entrenched. Listen. Bethune-Cookman's got the All-American tight end whose name just escaped me as soon as I said that, but I don't know who's going to be throwing him the football. Jackson State is deep and nasty on their D-line. Like they're just going to be throwing linemen at offenses. I don't know who's going to block Jackson State. Jackson State's defensive line is going to be good for at least 2 wins by themselves. I don't know an O-line in the SWAC that can block them. And Coach Prime has just sung the praises of number 1 overall recruit Travis Hunter. I was watching. Okay, I'm old. I don't know what NSFW means. That just made me feel like an old man.
Crispy, go ahead and explain that, please, and thank you for showing up, brother.
But I will say this though: I think the West is going to be the more entertaining division. I think a lot of people are counting Prairie View out because Dooley went to Southern and Jawan Pass resurrected his career at Prairie View. But I don't think you don't count Prairie View out. Bubba McDowell been on that staff for a decade, and he knows how to recruit. And it was really Prairie View's improved defense that was the reason they were able to make that SWAC championship game appearance last season. I am interested to see two things. Number one, I'm interested to see how good Grambling's going to be this year. Not safe for work. I still feel like an old man. I still don't get it, but it's okay. But Grambling is another team, and this is the main reason that I like Jackson State is they've got the best quarterback in the conference.
They do.
Really, you're not going to disagree with me?
They do. They got the best quarterback in the conference.
Because some people think it's Andrew Body out of Texas Southern.
No, it's not. And I don't know why that is. I really don't know why that is, man. I don't know why that is. Everybody's like, if you put him on Jackson State, he gonna be doing some big things, blah blah blah. I'm like, do you not hear? Because Shador, Shador is a legit. Shador is a Shiloh.
Shador. Shiloh's the DB.
Okay, Shador is a legit quarterback. He's legit been trained by like Tom Brady. He's been trained by a really good coaching staff when he was in high school. He's been trained by his father. He's been around NFL talent his whole entire life. I'm sorry, you're not telling me that some kid from around the way that couldn't get into Texas Tech. You can't get into Texas Tech to play football, but you went and settled for Texas State. Bro, not Texas State, but Texas Southern. Don't tell me this guy's better than him. No, he shows flashes of brilliancy, but y'all still pull him out and try to put him in, put his backup in all the time. See, y'all play these two, and this is something about HBCU. They do this thing where they play two quarterbacks all the time. I don't like that. Figure out your quarterback situation.
It's so funny you said that. I got a question.
Go ahead.
You think Southern going to play two quarterbacks again this year?
Yeah.
They played two last season. Well, the Darius Skelton They did. They played two last season. So that's going to be interesting. I think number one, Shador has the players around him.
Mm-hmm.
And now Coach Prime went out and got some guys to block for him.
Yes.
And I don't know.
I played the game. It's straight. I like it. It's straight. I like it. It's more for entertainment purposes, not to play and make a dynasty.
But I will say Shador's going to get the ball a lot because who's going to score on that? Listen, who's going to score on that defense?
And they just got better, man.
Listen, the last time I played NCAA college football, and I built my dynasty with Army, and I got an invite to play College USA.
I love building dynasties with the military teams.
Listen. Conrad, I believe I shared with you once one thing on my bucket list. I want to interview Nick Saban someday. Another thing on my bucket list, I want to go to West Point and cover a game.
Oh my God.
I've always loved Service Academy football. I'll give you a quick little story. There was a sportscaster way back in the day when I was young in the 80s by the name of Irv Cross. He was one of the few black college football color guys, and he and Vern Lundquist would do the Army Navy game every year. And that's kind of how I
Right.
really started like really loving college football by watching the Army Navy game. And listen, man, Army still run option football. And I'm sorry, you
And
can't
it's
love
beautiful,
football and
isn't
not
it?
love option football.
Option football is awesome, man.
So yeah,
Option
so
football
but
is
but
awesome.
but I so they invited me to Conference USA, and I gave up 6 points in Conference USA the whole season. Jackson
Mhm.
State may do to the SWAC what I did to Conference USA on NCAA college football. Man, this defense, y'all, you don't know this defense is gonna be nasty this season.
Bro, they're gonna go bananas, man.
Man, listen, Jack, listen, and I'm not saying this because it's the popular thing to say.
Mhm.
I'm saying this because it's true. I am curious to see who Alabama A&M starts at quarterback. With a Kill Glass out.
Right.
My dark horse, I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they're going to get at least 2 teams this year.
Mhm.
And I know Coach Prime loves him down there in Ilabena. I think Mississippi Valley State going to get at least 2 teams this year. My boldest of bold predictions. Not only is Mississippi Valley State going to get a couple teams this year, Mississippi Valley State at least is going to finish 500 this season.
At least 500.
At least. I like what Coach Dancy is doing down there at Mississippi Valley State. Once again, as you know, I have a thing about bad football teams trying to get good. I get that man some money so he can get some facilities.
Please.
Because listen.
Because I got a question. I got a follow-up question after this.
Okay, follow-up question.
All right. Which team, if they upgraded their facilities, would go on a tangent? And second question after that, does it matter if a team has facilities? Go.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, well, I will give it a time. I would say if Alcorn and Mississippi Valley State had better facilities, they'd be better programs. Do teams need facilities? I'll tell you this. They may not need them, but I don't think a kid's gonna go to a school with crappy facilities.
Mm-mm. Bro, that cafeteria needs to be on point.
Listen, and I'll tell you this, and I picked those two because I think Coach McNair and Alcorn and Coach Dancy at Mississippi Valley State are 2 of the better coaches in all of college football.
Yeah.
Both of them can flat coach. If they had better facilities, they'd have better players.
Hey, man, hit it on the head. Hit it on the head.
So, what else I got? What else I got in my notes? Oh, we talk about Texas Southern. I put in Texas Southern fix their awful defense. Look, that's why Andrew Body got to be brilliant every week because that defense go give up 42 points every week. but listen, I'm telling you, the one thing I think this year about the SWAC, and I wrote about it in the piece. Dr. Charles McClellan, the president of the SWAC, said that like every week is a marquee matchup. Like these are going to be some great. This is going to be one of the better seasons of SWAC football in a long time. I think FAMU and Jackson State to open the season is going to be an absolute slugfest. I think Alabama State, Alabama A&M is the Magic City Classic is going to be a great game. I did put 3 games for key games to watch. I would say in the West, Southern versus Prairie View. That game is going to probably determine the SWAC West champ. Oh, he put it up, my man. So yeah, if you go to about, I think the SWAC. Here's an interesting factoid though.
What's that?
About the SWAC versus the MEAC. The SWAC is currently getting all the attention. The MEAC is down to 6 teams. However, the MEAC is 11-4 all time in the MEAC SWAC Challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and 5-1 in the Celebration Bowl since it was rebranded the Celebration Bowl. Look out for my man Jordan Lewis. He coming back. He coming this year. Hey, listen. So I put the Arlington Football Showdown because Andrew Body. So that game's interesting to me. Andrew Body needs a showcase game. He's a sophomore. He's going to be in the shadow of Shadur Saint. I think they're going to be linked as long as they play in the SWAC together.
Right.
He needs a coming out game. Southern's the best defense in the SWAC West. Then on the other side, Jordan Lewis was the talk of the spring season when he had 10 sacks in 5 games. But he was hurt most of the season last year and missed 2 games and was hurt for the other 9. And he didn't see this guy down in Tallahassee, Isaiah Land, take his spot as the pass rusher in the SWAC. And Jordan Lewis coming for a spot this season. That's going to be interesting. I think Jordan Lewis and Isaiah Land are going to be going back and forth all season for SWAC Defensive Player of the Year.
All season long.
And it's going to be great to watch.
You'll be like, let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
It is going to be great to watch.
All right. Go ahead.
Let's close with the SWAC MEAC Challenge, Howard versus Alabama State. I don't know what the over-under of this game is. Take the over. Both of these defenses are bad. And maybe give the edge to Howard because Ryan Nettles is at Tuskegee and not at Alabama State. And there's no Ezra Gray at Alabama State. And this is hard for me to say because my family's from Alabama and all my extended family graduated from Alabama State. So, my cousin Eric, sorry, bro. It is what it is. But this one should have some points. This one should have some points. This one should be fun.
It's a high scoring game.
Absolutely, I think it's going to be fun. I think Howard's. I got Howard 5th in the MEAC, but I think Howard's going to be better this year. And they've struggled for a few years.
Can I be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
This is my least favorite game opening in week 0. Least favorite game. Least favorite game week 0.
You looking forward to Florida State Duquesne?
I am looking. Yes, I am. But I am looking forward to actually Florida A&M and North Carolina.
Really?
I think what Willie Simmons is trying to do is he's trying to put himself in that second place with Prime. Like, look, I can get people to Florida. I got something that you never will have. I got Florida State. I got beautiful girls. I have Florida A&M. I have the most talked about school in the country outside of you. So that's cool. What I'm saying? I'll build over here, you build over there.
And Coach Prime said, well, that's great, but we got Travis Hunter. Who y'all get? They
got you know who they got? They got a young brother by the name of Zaire Riley. Mm-hmm. Zaire Riley, yes, he's only 5'9", but Zaire Riley plays like he's 6'2". So don't try my boy. Do not try my boy. So yeah. So anyway, I heard that you need to go back to the lab and try to fix stuff because you spend too much time in the locker room trying to be all cool with all the football players.
I know, I did.
And with the coaching staff.
Yeah, I spent way too much time in the locker room. I do have one question before we go. Maybe you know the answer to this question. Who's starting at quarterback at Florida A&M this year?
Stop! I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Listen, I ain't trying to rag on you either. But y'all need to figure that out before y'all go to Miami
I
Gardens.
think they got it. I think they got it. I want to say they do. You know, they got it. So the secret's out. The secret's out.
I'm like that may be important.
That may be important. We might be seeing 17 again. Listen.
Okay.
Listen. Hey man, to everybody, man, make sure you check the blackboard. Yeah, I got y'all there. Yeah.
We
check
use Canvas here, buddy.
We use Canvas.
We use Canvas.
Yo, but for real. Campus. Okay, cool. We use Campus. Well, for real though. Hey man, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. Right there, that's where you can send your tuition at to make sure that we can run this university really well. Also, man, just make sure you go check out the blog because it is a really good piece, and we got some videos included, so you can check the videos out while reading. Man, it's really big over there on mtnvpn.com. I wish I would have put the line under there. We don't have that right now in our graphics. But till next time, man, and check it out for our homeboy JT, the real MVP of the MVP University, our headmaster of the
the provost of MVP.
Right. I think he's pledging right now. Gamma, gamma, gamma. He's pledging gamma, gamma, gamma right now. So we can't really bother him. But make sure y'all shout out your prayers, man. You know what I'm saying? He's going through a tough time, but like we said, we love you, JT, man. Hope everything works out, man. Hopefully we see you soon, brother. All right. I'm Connie Westside.
Professor Pryor.
This is MVP University. Ciao. Hey, man, I think I'm going to go stop by the dog cafeteria first because I need to eat something, man. I'm hungry. Everybody's talking about the food now.
I need some good brain food.
Man, they don't have fried chicken Fridays here, man. I need fried chicken Fridays.
Listen, you need to cut down on all them fried foods, brother.
No,